The big homie wanted to look like a gay painter.
Jay-Z just put a $3 million bounty on 50 Cent to silence him after all these years of thrash talking. Allegedly backed by leaked evidence, this shocking claim is sending shockwaves through hip-hop, reopening old beefs, secret power plays, and dangerous rumors fans never expected to surface. The chess match behind the music. Now, on the surface, it looked like 50 Cent and Jay-Z had put their differences aside after that 2003 tour. They were doing business together. They had a Reebok commercial. They were smiling for the cameras. But what people did not realize is that behind the scenes, a chess match was unfolding. And in this chess match, both players were trying to outmaneuver the other without ever admitting they were playing the game in the first place. It was actually Jay-Z's idea to give 50 Cent a sneaker deal with Reebok, according to Steve Stout. Jay had his S. Carter collection, and he suggested that Reebok bring 50 on board for G-Unit sneakers. They even shot a commercial together rapping about the shoes in a freestyle. It was good business for both of them, but here is the thing that probably kept Jay-Z up at night. 50 Cent revealed that G-Unit sneakers outsold Jay-Z sneakers 6-1 and netted him $80 million with Reebok. 50's sneakers were outselling what most rappers were selling in albums. That kind of dominance does something to a rivalry, even one that is supposed to be friendly. Then came November 2003 and another collision. Both albums ended up leaking ahead of time, forcing the record labels to push the release dates up, and G-Unit's Beg for Mercy and Jay-Z's The Black Album ended up dropping on the same day, November 14th. Jay-Z's The Black Album debuted at number 1, selling 463,000 copies the first week, while G-Unit's Beg for Mercy debuted at number 3, selling 377,000 copies. Jay won the first week, but here's what most people forget. Over time, G-Unit's Beg for Mercy went on to sell 6 million copies worldwide, and Jay-Z's Black Album sold 4 million copies. In the long run, 50 and his crew actually outsold the man who was supposed to be untouchable. After that, Jay-Z officially announced his retirement from rap, and 50 Cent did not let that slide quietly. In a 2014 interview, 50 said flat out that he was the reason Jay-Z retired from making music between 2003 and 2006.
Where was Jay-Z from 2003 to 2006? I sold 23 million records between 2003 and 2006.
Right.
He stopped making music, said, I'm gonna go be the president of a record company. I quit. We'll get back to what me and you got later, Fifth. I quit, time out. I'll come back to play later. Then he signed the Beyonce contract. I was like, yeah.
That is a bold claim, but the numbers back it up in a lot of ways. While Jay-Z stepped away to become president of Def Jam Records, 50 Cent was dominating every chart, every radio station, and every club in America. And that brings us to the biggest chess move of them all, one that 50 Cent says proved Jay-Z's true feelings about him. In 2007, 50 Cent challenged Kanye West to a sales battle. Both of their albums were dropping on the same day, September 11th. But 50 Cent always believed this was never really a battle between him and Kanye, because Jay-Z at the time was the president of Def Jam, and Kanye was signed to Def Jam. And Jay-Z, according to 50, did everything in his power to make sure Kanye beat him. In his book Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter, 50 Cent wrote that Jay-Z had been extremely uncomfortable with his run in New York City for years and did everything under the sun to make sure he could beat 50 through Kanye. 50 recalled that both he and Kanye agreed to do a joint appearance on BET with no guests. Interscope told Eminem not to come. But on the day of the show, Jay-Z was right there on stage performing with Kanye, meaning Jay had gone to some length to get around that no guests rule, whereas Interscope Records had just let it go. 50 lost the sales battle. Kanye outsold him by close to 300,000 units, and Jay-Z took credit for it. In his book Decoded, Jay-Z wrote about the competition, and 50 Cent felt that Jay-Z was taking credit for beating him through Kanye West. 50 read those words and understood exactly what they meant. This was never just competition between artists. This was a war between two moguls, and Jay-Z was using his entire corporate machine to fight it. But the real tension was not just about album sales, it was about New York. Funkmaster Flex revealed that during this time, he went on the radio and called 50 Cent the king of New York City, and Jay-Z called him personally to say they could not give 50 that title. Jay-Z was calling a radio DJ to make sure nobody gave 50 Cent the title of king of New York. That is not something a man does when he is at peace with the competition. That is something a man does when the competition is keeping him awake at night. Then came the 2007 Screamfest tour at Madison Square Garden. Jay-Z was supposed to have a big moment. T.I. brought him out as a surprise guest and even called him the King of New York. Jay was bringing out Kanye West to make it a massive event, but 50 Cent crashed the whole thing. 50 walked right across that stage uninvited, looked Jay-Z dead in the eye, and turned Jay's moment into his own. Jay responded on stage saying, "You can get some too," but the damage was done. That look on Jay-Z's face when 50 appeared told the whole story. He was not expecting it, and he did not like it one bit. Then in 2009, 50 released Flight 187 on his mixtape and sent shots at Jay-Z, mocking his changing image and appearance. He rapped about how Jay was rocking an Urkel look, growing dreads, and talking like a yardie. He was saying that money had changed Jay-Z into somebody nobody from Marcy Projects would recognize. Jay-Z responded while on BBC One's Trevor Nelson show by saying flat out, "No one is scared of 50 Cent," but 50 was not buying it. He said the real issue was not whether anyone was scared.
No, I think the guy who was talking to him made him feel like a punk. You see what I'm saying? So he had to say, "Yo, nobody scared of 50. Let's get this clear. Nobody is scared of 50. But I'm not the issue. Him making you feel like a punk is the issue." And at the end of the day, I look at it and people don't assess themselves. Even really intelligent people. Jay's a smart guy. You know what I'm saying? He'll analyze other people and other things that they're doing and not actually look at what's happening to him and his transition.
And that right there captures the heart of this rivalry. 50 Cent was saying that Jay-Z was so focused on controlling the narrative and protecting his image that he could not see his own blind spots. And 50 was more than happy to point them out one by one. 50 then linked up with Beanie Siegel, who was a former Jay-Z protege going through his own fallout with Jay, and together they recorded a track called "I Go Off," where 50 attacked Jay-Z directly while bigging up Beanie. 50 described the pattern he saw in Jay-Z's approach to handling rivals. That is 50's core argument. Jay-Z avoids direct confrontation. He puts other people in front of him whenever the heat comes. And 50 says if you line up the numbers from their prime years, 50 did in 4 years what it took Jay 15 years to do. The spark that started a war. In hip-hop, there are beefs that burn hot and die fast. Two guys go back and forth on a couple of tracks, shake hands at an award show, and everybody moves on. But then there are rivalries that stretch across decades. Rivalries that start with a joke and turn into something so deep, so personal, so wrapped up in money, pride, and power that the two people involved literally cannot be in the same room without the air getting thick. That is the story of 50 Cent and Jay-Z. And what 50 has been revealing lately about why he and Jay cannot coexist in the same space is something that goes all the way back to the streets of New York in the late 1990s. So let us start at the very beginning, because you cannot understand where these two are today if you do not understand where they came from and how their paths first crossed. Jay-Z released his debut album Reasonable Doubt on June 25, 1996, and it changed everything for the Brooklyn rapper, eventually selling over 1.5 million copies and establishing him as a lyrical powerhouse. The world got introduced to the rapper Jay-Z instead of the person Sean Carter. He was a Brooklyn kid who came from the streets, co-founded his own record label called Rockefeller Records, and was building an empire before most people even knew his name. Now, around that same time, there was a kid from South Jamaica, Queens, who did not go by 50 Cent yet, and people in the neighborhood called him Boo Boo. He was out there doing what he had to do to survive, whether that meant sticking people up or selling drugs on the corner, but something inside him was pulling him toward music. And the person who first spotted that spark was Jam Master Jay from Run DMC. So right from the jump, people were comparing the two of them. Jam Master Jay saw something in 50 that reminded him of Jay-Z, just a rougher, more dangerous version. He signed 50 to his label and started teaching him how to write songs properly. But things moved slow, and eventually 50 left and signed with the platinum selling producers Trackmasters, who had a deal over at Columbia Records. He recorded 36 songs in just 2 weeks. The kid was hungry, but Columbia kept sitting on his music, and by 1999, Jay-Z had already released 3 albums and was becoming a household name in America. That is when 50 Cent decided to take matters into his own hands. In April of 1999, he released a song called How to Rob, and this track took the music industry by storm, because 50 Cent was mentioning names of people in the song, which was starting to become forbidden because of the Tupac and Biggie beef. The whole concept was simple. 50 was rapping about robbing famous rappers to get rich. He name-dropped over 40 artists, and yes, Jay-Z was one of them. The line talked about how Jay just sold 4 million records and had something to live for, warning him not to make him put bullets through that Bentley coupe door. It was meant to be funny, but it was also meant to get a reaction, and it worked perfectly. A couple months later, Hot 97 held held their annual Summer Jam concert. Jay-Z was there, 50 Cent was there, and Shaka Zulu, who was doing radio at the time at Columbia, decided to take 50 Cent backstage to meet a bunch of people so that there could be a face attached with the name and song. That is where the two of them came face to face for the very first time.
I bumped right into him while he was backstage.
I ran into Jay at Summer Jam.
And he came up like, yo, I'm 50 Cent, yeah. I said, oh, I said, that record you got is hot.
Yo, I don't like that record you got. I love that record you got.
I like that joint. He was like, thanks, man. I said, yeah, but you know I'm about to go in, right?
I'm like, all right, do what you do. I didn't know he meant right then. He go on stage, that's the first time I ever seen 30,000 people. He said, I'm about $1. Who the f is 50 Cent?
I'm about dollars. Who the f is 50 Cent?
I didn't even know 30,000 people knew who 50 Cent was. I should send him a bottle of champagne for that.
Now, think about that for a second. Most people would have been angry hearing a superstar diss them in front of 30,000 people. But 50 Cent was not angry. He was thrilled. He sent Jay-Z a bottle of champagne because in 50's mind, Jay-Z just told the entire world that 50 Cent existed. That response was the best promotion money could not buy. On December 28, 1999, Jay-Z released his fourth studio album, Volume 3, Life and Times of S. Carter, and on track number 6, It's Hot. He put those bars going at 50 Cent on wax. The line went, go against yo ass is dense. I'm about $1. What the f is 50 cents? That line became legendary. It was a direct shot at 50's name, his worth, and his standing in the game. 50 did not back down. In early 2000, 50 Cent released a response track called Be a Gentleman, which officially appeared on his compilation mixtape, Guess Who's Back. He flipped Jay-Z's own lyrics back at him, twisting Jay's famous line from If I Should Die and sending it right back, saying he was slick enough to twist Jay's lines and return them. It was sharp, it was clever, and it showed everybody that 50 Cent was not just some street kid with a gimmick. He could really rap. But then, on May 24, 2000, everything changed. 50 Cent was shot 9 times outside his grandmother's house in South Jamaica, Queens. The bullets hit his hand, his arm, his hip, both legs, his chest, and his face. A fragment lodged in his jaw, knocking out a wisdom tooth and leaving him with a permanent change in his voice that would later become his signature sound. He spent 13 days in the hospital and could not walk for 6 weeks. Columbia Records dropped him. His debut album, Power of the Dollar, was shelved. It looked like his career was over before it even started, but 50 Cent did not die, and that near-death experience lit a fire inside him that nobody could put out. He went underground, released compilation mixtapes, caught the attention of Eminem and Dr. Dre, and on June 20th, 2002, inked a deal with Shady Aftermath Records. Then on February 6, 2003, 50 Cent released his debut album Get Rich or Die Trying, and did an outstanding 872,000 copies within his first week of sales, which ended up being the largest debut hip-hop album of all time. Jay-Z saw the tidal wave coming before it hit. He walked into the studio one day and told every artist around him to get their music out immediately.
You know, I remember one time walking in the studio, bleak beans, everybody was in there, and I was like, man, I'm telling you, man, y'all got a chance right now, just flood it, put out a lot of music, because 50 Cent is coming. And, you know, 4 months later, in the club hit and it was over. And It was just like, okay, now everybody got to sit on the sidelines and wait this tidal wave out.
Jay-Z was telling his own artists to hurry up and release music because once 50 Cent arrived, nobody else would matter. And that is exactly what happened. 50 took over 2003 completely. So Jay-Z made a smart move. Instead of fighting 50 head-on, he stood next to him. On May 1st, 2003, 50 Cent and Jay-Z announced they were doing a tour together called Rock the Mic. They even appeared on Entertainment Weekly magazine to talk about the tour and their relationship. Jay even jumped on 50's track If I Can't for his S. Carter collection mixtape, redirecting his fire at Ja Rule instead of 50, signaling a truce. But underneath it all, the tension never really went away, because two kings cannot share one throne, and both of them knew it. The Cold War. So by 2010, you would think these two would have settled everything. The big sales battles were done, the diss tracks had cooled off, they both had empires to run, but that is the thing about this rivalry. It never fully died, it just changed shape, and what 50 Cent has been doing in recent years tells you everything about why these two men cannot exist in the same space anymore. Now 50 and Jay did run into each other one more time. In September 2010, Eminem and Jay-Z were doing concerts together at Comerica Park, and they brought out a bunch of guests including 50 Cent, Dr. Dre, G-Unit, and D12. A photo of 50 50 and Jay talking backstage went viral online. Everybody wanted to know what they said to each other. When MTV asked 50 about the photo, he gave a very careful answer saying, "We got a chance to kick it for a minute. I take people's actions as if it's genuinely how they feel. I can only use what I saw you do as if that's what you meant." Read between the lines on that one. He is saying Jay-Z's actions told him everything he needed to know about where they really stood. And then the trolling era began. 50 Cent turned his Instagram and social media into a full-time operation dedicated to poking at Jay-Z. Not with diss tracks anymore, with memes, with deleted posts, with captions that hit harder than any bar ever could. Jadakiss revealed in 2012 that he was in the studio with Jay-Z, and Jay was praising 50 Cent's hook ability, saying his hooks were crazy. Even behind closed doors, Jay could not deny what 50 brought to the table, but publicly, the tension was only growing. 50 Cent said in September 2012 that Jay-Z stays close to artists only to remain relevant, waiting until they are hot enough to function on their own before using their momentum to keep himself cool. He was describing a pattern he had watched play out over and over again. Jay-Z, according to 50, does not build people up. He waits until they build themselves up, then stands next to them for the photo opportunity. When Jay-Z released his album 444 in 2017, most of the hip-hop world praised it as a mature, introspective masterpiece. 50 Cent called it golf course music in a now deleted Instagram video.
I listened to Jay that 444. I thought this was alright, you know what I'm saying? I liked it. But I'm gonna keep it 100. It was it was too smart. Right? I felt like I was supposed to be wearing
Yo, I ain't gonna lie, man. 50 undefeated.
like glasses and like top, like a sweater around my waist. It was like Ivy League. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. This is hot out here, so they don't want to hear that. They just want to have a good time.
That golf course music comment spread everywhere, and it landed hard because there was truth in it. 50 was saying that Jay-Z had moved so far away from the streets that he was making music for boardrooms and country clubs instead of the people who made him famous in the first place. Then in 2018, 50 called Jay-Z out for being sneaky, pointing out how Jay-Z and Beyonce dropped their joint album on the exact same weekend that Nas released his new project. And 50 said he was doing that just to sabotage Nas's numbers quietly. 50 was peeling back the curtain. He was showing the world that Jay-Z operates in a way where everything looks clean on the surface, but underneath, moves are being made, calculated, deliberate, quiet, and 50 was determined to make sure people noticed. Then came the Super Bowl situation in 2022, and this is a big one. Jay-Z's Rock Nation has a partnership with the NFL and helps put together the halftime show. When Dr. Dre, Eminem, Snoop Dogg, Mary J. Blige, and Kendrick Lamar were announced for the halftime performance, 50 Cent was not on the list. 50 claimed that Jay-Z actively tried to block him from performing at the Super Bowl. He said the only reason he got on that stage was because Eminem refused to do it without him. NORE revealed on Drink Champs that he asked Jay-Z directly about 50's involvement, and Jay-Z told him that Eminem called directly for 50, saying he could not do it without him. But what bothered 50 was that Jay-Z referred to Eminem as the white boy, instead of acknowledging him as one of the greatest rappers alive. When 50 caught wind of that, he went straight to Instagram.
Then I go, oh, that's your big homie, right? And so he imaged himself after a gay painter. The big homie want to look like a gay painter.
What are we talking about here?
We're talking about Basquiat. He wants to look like a gay painter.
50 did not hold back. He posted a photo comparing Jay-Z to Basquiat in resemblance and captioned it asking why Jay-Z said the white boy instead of saying the biggest rap artist in the world. He was making the point that Jay-Z was trying to minimize Eminem's request just to diminish 50's presence at the biggest event in entertainment. And this is where the bigger picture becomes clear. This is not just about music anymore. This is about respect. 50 Cent feels that Jay-Z has spent decades trying to minimize him, block him, and control how the world sees him. From calling Funkmaster Flex to stop him from being called King of New York, to using Kanye West as a weapon in a sales battle, to trying to keep him off the Super Bowl stage, 50 sees a pattern, and he is not going to let it slide. 50 Cent described his trolling approach in a Big Boy interview in December 2024 as competitive, not hateful, explaining that with Jay, it is definitely not personal hatred, it is just being competitive. He even said he hopes things are all right for Jay internally. but then he turns around and posts things that make Jay-Z's team scramble. The numbers paint an interesting picture too. Jay-Z's net worth sits at an estimated $2.5 billion, making him the world's richest musician, far surpassing 50 Cent, who rebuilt after his 2015 bankruptcy and sits at around $150 million. Jay has more money, but 50 argues that Jay-Z's public image is more fragile than people think. And every meme, every deleted post, every caption with a laughing emoji is designed to chip away at the carefully constructed wall Jay has built around himself. And when someone asked 50 if Jay-Z belonged in the top 3 rappers of all time, his answer was classic 50. He would not give Jay-Z the crown, not even close. And that refusal says more than any diss track ever could. 50 Cent once told MTV News exactly how he sees their relationship, and these words still ring true today. Because when you look at everything that has happened between these two over the past 25 plus years, the sneaker competition, the sales battles, the blocked opportunities, the phone calls to radio stations, the stage crashes, and the endless trolling, you start to understand something. These two men represent two completely different approaches to power. Jay-Z moves in silence, builds behind closed doors, and controls the narrative from the shadows. 50 Cent moves out loud, says exactly what he thinks, and dares anybody to do something about it. 50 Cent has said it himself. He just needs somebody to compete with because it makes him find a way, and Jay-Z knows he will always find a way. That is why they cannot be in the same room, because when they are, the energy shifts, the masks come off, and the real competition, the one that has been going on for over 2 decades, the one that both of them need, but neither one of them will ever fully admit to, that competition fills up every inch of space between them. And honestly, that is what makes this one of the greatest rivalries in hip-hop history. It is not about who has more money. It is not about who sold more records. It is about two men from the streets of New York who both believe they deserve to be number one, and neither one of them is ever going to stop fighting for that spot. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative and interesting, be sure to check out other similar and amazing videos on the screen. See you in the next video.